Have you ever reached for your phone and suddenly realized an hour has disappeared? Do you feel restless when you try to sit down and focus? You're not alone. In our daily lives, quick pings, streams of posts, and constant updates pull at our attention and leave us drained. This video will guide you through a dopamine detox that helps calm the noise inside your mind and build real focus. You'll learn simple steps to shut off distracting alerts, feel the quiet return in your thoughts, and notice your breathing slow as your brain frees up energy for deep work. I'll share practical tips you can use right now to break free from constant scrolling and gain control over your time. Stick around to discover how you can train your brain to dive into meaningful tasks, feel less stressed, and achieve more without feeling overwhelmed. Your journey to focus begins today. Chapter 1. Eliminate daily digital triggers that weaken your focus. The truth is, most people don't lose focus because they're lazy. They lose focus because they're surrounded by invisible traps that hijack their attention every single day. If you feel like your mind is always racing, or that you struggle to stay present with your work or your goals, it's not entirely your fault. There's a system designed to keep you addicted to distractions, and it's powered by digital triggers that you've learned to accept as normal. But if you want to do deep work and truly take control of your mind, you must first eliminate what weakens your focus, not reduce. Eliminate. When your phone buzzes with a notification, it's not just a sound, it's a signal. It tells your brain that something urgent might be happening. You stop what you're doing, even if it's important, to check it. Over time, your mind begins to expect this interruption. It becomes restless when there are no notifications, and slowly your ability to stay focused on one task begins to fade. This is not about self-control alone. This is about conditioning. If you've been exposed to constant interruptions for years, your brain has learned to crave them. To train your brain for deep work, you must unlearn that behavior. You must regain ownership over your attention. The first step is to become aware of all the digital triggers you interact with on a daily basis. Start with your phone. How many notifications do you get in a single hour? How many apps are allowed to steal your attention whenever they want? Every red dot, every badge icon, every ping is not just a reminder, it's a trap. These signals are designed to feel important, even when they're not. And they are always urgent, even when they're meaningless. So you have to cut them off. Go to your settings and turn off all notifications that are not essential. That means no social media alerts, no promotional emails, no breaking news updates. If it's not directly tied to your work, your safety, or your closest relationships, it doesn't deserve to interrupt your mind. This isn't about disconnecting from the world. It's about choosing what enters your awareness and when. If your phone decides that for you, then you're not in control. Next, remove visual triggers. Your home screen is not a place for distraction. If you open your phone and immediately see icons for Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, you're inviting distraction before you even know it. Move those apps off your home screen, or delete them completely if they don't add value to your life. You can't train for deep focus while keeping the door open to shallow distractions. Rearranging your digital environment may seem small, but it sends a powerful message to your brain. This device serves you, not the other way around. Now turn your attention to your browser. How many tabs do you keep open? How many bookmarks lead to sites that pull you into endless scrolling? Your browser is not just a tool, it's a portal. If you don't set limits, it will consume your time without mercy. Use tools that block distracting websites during your deep work sessions. Schedule your web use like any other task. The internet is useful when you control it. It's dangerous when it controls you. The same applies to your email, For many, email is the single greatest source of digital distraction, but it doesn't have to be. Stop checking email constantly. Instead, schedule specific blocks of time during the day to check and respond. If people need urgent access to you, they will find a way. But your default state should not be reactive. It should be focused and intentional. One of the most overlooked digital triggers is the endless stream of content we consume passively. Videos, feeds, shorts, stories. These are not just ways to relax. They condition your brain to expect novelty, fast rewards, and zero effort. Over time, this damages your ability to do hard things. It weakens your tolerance for boredom. It trains your brain to avoid depth and chase stimulation. You must become intentional with what you consume. Ask yourself daily, is this feeding my growth or feeding my addiction? Start tracking how much time you spend consuming versus creating. If most of your day is spent watching others live their lives, you are not in control of your own. You were not born to scroll endlessly. You were born to build, to think, to move with purpose. But that version of you can only rise when you remove what dulls your mind. Some people will say that this is too extreme, that it's okay to be distracted sometimes. That dopamine hits are normal and harmless. But that's only true if you're okay living a life of mediocrity. If you want to achieve something rare, clarity, purpose, deep mastery, you can't follow the habits of people who are lost in distractions. You must choose a different path. One built on discipline, not impulse. Discipline is not about force. It's about clarity. It's about knowing what matters to you and cutting away what doesn't. Every digital trigger that weakens your focus is a silent thief. It steals your time, your attention, and your ability to stay with the work that matters. You must identify these thieves and lock them out, one by one. You don't need to wait for the perfect day to start. Begin now. Identify 3 digital triggers you can eliminate immediately. Maybe it's turning off all non-essential notifications. Maybe it's deleting an app that drains hours from your day. Maybe it's removing visual clutter from your phone or computer. These small changes create space, and in that space, your mind begins to breathe again. When you remove these digital intrusions, something powerful happens. You start to notice things again. You become more present. Your thoughts slow down. You feel less restless. Your mind no longer jumps from one thing to another like a wild animal. It begins to focus, and with focus comes depth. With depth comes mastery. This process will not feel easy at first. In fact, it will feel uncomfortable. You'll feel the itch to check your phone. You'll feel the urge to scroll. That's your brain going through withdrawal. It's detoxing from the noise. Stay with it. Don't run from the discomfort. Walk through it with your eyes open. Every time you resist the urge to give in, you become stronger. You train your brain to work for you, not against you. You don't need 1,000 productivity hacks to become focused. You just need to remove what constantly breaks your attention. You need to protect your mind like it's sacred, because it is. If you can't focus, you can't create. If you can't create, you can't build anything meaningful. Focus is the foundation of every great achievement, and it starts with eliminating what weakens it. Imagine what your life would look like if you could stay focused for 2 or 3 hours a day without interruption. Imagine how much progress you could make on your goals, your skills, your business, your personal growth. That version of you is not far away. It's just buried under layers of distractions. Strip them away. Set yourself free. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for awareness. Every time you slip, notice it. Don't shame yourself. Just return to focus. The goal is not to eliminate all distractions forever. The goal is to become the kind of person who notices distractions early and returns to deep work quickly. That's the skill. That's the power. And here's something most people don't realize. Once you eliminate digital triggers and your mind begins to quiet down, you'll start to enjoy focus. It won't feel like a chore. It will feel like peace, like clarity, like coming home. Your thoughts will become sharper. Your work will become more meaningful. Your relationships will feel deeper. Because now you're present. You're fully here. And that's when real growth begins. You'll realize that most of what you used to consume added nothing to your life. It was just noise. You were chasing stimulation because you were afraid of silence. But in the silence, you find your strength. You find your purpose, and you find the space to do the work that matters most. So decide today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today, take full control of your attention. Eliminate the digital triggers that weaken your focus. Make space for deep work. Make space for clarity. Make space for the life you're truly capable of living. Because the world doesn't need more distracted minds. It needs more people who are fully present, fully alive, fully committed to something meaningful. That begins with you, right now. Chapter 2. Reset your brain by taking a 24-hour detox. Most people will never realize how much power they've lost until they experience a full day without distractions. Your mind is not tired from effort, it's tired from overstimulation. You're not burnt out because you've worked too hard. You're burnt out because you've been bombarded non-stop by noise, choices, updates, and interruptions. And the solution is not more productivity tools, more caffeine, or more willpower. The real solution is silence. The real reset happens when you give your brain what it desperately needs but never receives space. A 24-hour detox isn't about punishing yourself. It's not about isolation. It's a deliberate act of rebellion against a system that thrives on your attention. It's a mental reset. One that puts you back in charge. When you take even a single day to step back from the digital chaos, something shifts. Your mind stops racing. You stop reaching for your phone without thinking. You begin to hear your own thoughts again. You become grounded. For most people, the idea of going 24 hours without screens sounds extreme. That's exactly why you need it. If the thought of disconnecting makes you anxious, it's because you've become too used to noise. It has become your comfort, your routine, your default state. But the comfort is fake. The stimulation is empty. It never nourishes your mind. It never fills the void. It just keeps you running on autopilot. This detox is a challenge, but it's also a gift. It gives you back what constant dopamine hits have taken from you: clarity, control, calm. The goal is not to escape life. The goal is to return to it, fully present. To reset your system and remind yourself what it feels like to be still. Truly still. No scrolling, no replying, no consuming, just being. You start by choosing your day in advance. Don't wait until you're overwhelmed. Pick a day when you can create some space. Not a vacation, not a lazy Sunday, but a real day where you can walk away from screens and be with your thoughts. Prepare for it like you would for something important. Because it is. It's your mind. It's your energy. It's your sanity. Inform the people who need to know. Set an automatic message if necessary. Let your close contacts know you'll be unreachable for 24 hours. Not as an apology, but as a boundary. You don't owe your presence to everyone all the time. You owe your presence to yourself. And this one day is about reclaiming that. When the day begins, your phone stays off or on airplane mode, not on silent, not flipped over, off. You don't check messages. You don't peek at social media. You don't open any apps. You don't browse. You don't watch. You step away completely. Every pull you feel toward the screen is your addiction speaking. Notice it, but don't obey it. The detox starts slow. At first you might feel agitated. Your hands may twitch toward your pockets. You'll instinctively reach for your phone without realizing it. That's not weakness. That's programming. You've built pathways in your brain that associate boredom with reaching for a screen. This day is about breaking those pathways. Instead of reacting, you pause. You feel the discomfort and stay with it. That's where the power is. That's where the healing happens, in the silence, in the waiting, in the moment when you want to escape and you don't. You'll notice small things that you've been blind to. The texture of the air, the sound of your breath, the patterns of your thoughts, the weight of your mind when it's not flooded with endless input. You'll feel your nervous system slow down. Your thoughts will begin to form more clearly. Your emotions will surface without being drowned by the next scroll. This isn't magic. It's biology. Your brain has been wired to chase short-term pleasure because it's been rewarded for it over and over. Every like, every message, every video trains your mind to seek instant gratification. A detox rewires that loop. It tells your brain that it doesn't need a hit every few seconds, that it can sit in stillness, that it can find peace without stimulation. Throughout the day, you begin to think about things differently. You're not just disconnected from devices. You're connected to yourself. You have thoughts that you haven't made time for in months. You reflect. You question. You feel. There's no noise to drown it out, so you hear the truth more clearly. You begin to notice how much time you've been giving away. Not just minutes or hours, but attention, focus, energy. You see how much of your mental strength has been leaking into shallow activities that never truly matter. And you feel the urge to change that. That's the detox working. This reset also gives you space to reconnect with activities that ground you. You take a walk without music. You eat without a screen. You journal without interruption. You talk to someone without checking your phone mid-conversation. You rediscover the depth in simplicity, the richness of a moment fully lived. You don't need to do anything spectacular during your detox. You don't need to fill the day with productivity. The point is to allow your mind to breathe, to rest, to recalibrate. When you stop flooding your system with shallow stimulation, you make room for deeper thought, for real insight, for meaningful presence. By the afternoon, the restlessness fades. You settle into a new rhythm. Time slows down, but in a good way. Your thoughts become more orderly. You feel less scattered, more anchored. The cravings begin to lose their grip. You realize that you don't need constant updates to feel connected. You don't need a screen to feel alive. By evening, your mind feels lighter, clearer, not because you achieved anything massive, but because you stopped feeding the cycle that drains you every single day. The silence that felt uncomfortable in the morning now feels comforting. You've remembered how to be alone with yourself without distraction. And that memory is powerful. As the day comes to an end, you reflect on what you've gained. It's not just a break. It's a reset. A clean slate. You feel more control over your time, more command over your focus. You see the patterns more clearly. You recognize the triggers. You realize how easily you gave away your attention before, and now you know how to guard it. The next morning, when you turn your phone back on, you won't be the same person. You'll feel the difference immediately. The screen won't pull you in with the same intensity. You'll notice how loud everything feels again, How much noise is always waiting. But this time, you won't be unconscious. You'll be aware, and awareness is power. This one-day detox is not the end. It's the beginning of a deeper discipline, a new respect for your mind, a reminder that you always have the choice to step away, to unplug, to return to yourself. The world will keep spinning. The messages will keep coming, but you'll know that none of it owns you. You decide when to connect. You decide when to focus. You decide how your energy is spent. The most important benefit of a 24-hour detox is that it teaches you you're not dependent. You can think clearly. You can feel peace. You can live deeply, without being plugged into everything all the time. That kind of freedom is rare in a world designed to keep you wired. And once you experience it, you won't want to go back. You start to build new habits. You begin to protect your mornings from digital invasion. You create sacred blocks of time where your mind stays uninterrupted. You stop reaching for your phone the second you feel uncomfortable. You start choosing boredom instead of cheap stimulation, because boredom leads to ideas, and ideas are what build a powerful life. This is how momentum begins, one detox day at a time, one act of self-control, one small reset that rewires your brain for clarity, depth, and direction. The people who build meaningful lives are not the ones who consume the most. They are the ones who choose where their attention goes and refuse to let it be hijacked. No one is coming to reclaim your mind for you. You have to do it yourself. 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time. And it starts with a bold choice. Step away. Unplug. Reset. You'll never see your attention the same way again. And that's the point. You were never supposed to live in a state of constant distraction. You were born to think deeply, to live intentionally, and to focus with strength. The detox reminds you of that truth. The screen is not your enemy. The addiction is. The escape is not found in more content. The escape is in presence, in awareness, in silence. And once you reclaim that, you reclaim yourself. So do it. Not later. Not when you have time. Do it now. Create the space. Shut off the noise. And face the quiet. It's there that your power returns. It's there that the real work begins. Chapter 3. Build strong habits that reward discipline, not distraction. You are not a victim of your habits. You are their creator. And today is the day you reclaim that truth. Every small action you repeat is building the person you're becoming. Whether you're aware of it or not, your daily patterns are shaping your character, your confidence, and your future. If your habits are built around distractions, then every day is a step away from your potential. But if you deliberately shape habits that reward discipline, then each day becomes a victory, quiet, steady, and transformative. You live in a world where convenience has been weaponized. The easiest option is usually the most addictive one. It demands nothing from you but gives you the illusion of pleasure. But that kind of pleasure doesn't last. It empties you, it weakens your resolve, and it conditions your mind to expect results without effort. That's the trap. But you can escape it, not through motivation but through systems. Through the slow, intentional construction of habits that don't reward impulse but reinforce commitment. The key to transformation isn't found in a single breakthrough. It's found in the consistency of your daily choices. Every time you act with discipline, you strengthen the muscle of self-mastery. That's how lasting change is built. You don't have to overhaul your life in one day. You only need to design small habits that feed the life you want, not the one you've settled for. That's where the shift begins. Start by taking inventory. Ask yourself this: which habits in your life serve your highest values? Which ones align with the future you want to build? And more importantly, which habits steal your energy, your time, and your clarity? Don't lie to yourself. Be brutally honest. If checking your phone first thing in the morning derails your focus, remove it. If staying up late watching mindless content makes you tired and unproductive the next day, break that pattern. Nothing changes until you do. The habits that matter most aren't always the loud ones. They're not the ones that get recognition or applause. They're the ones you do when no one's watching. The ones that compound silently in the background: waking up on time, planning your day, saying no to unnecessary temptation, choosing to start even when you don't feel like it. These actions may seem small, but they're building a mindset of discipline that carries into every part of your life. To build habits that reward discipline, you need friction in the right places. Make distractions hard to access. Don't rely on willpower. Structure your environment to support your focus. If junk food is in the house, you'll eventually eat it. If your phone is within reach, you'll eventually pick it up. So remove the option. Make the better choice the easier one. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's using your environment to support your strength, instead of testing it constantly. Create routines that trigger the right behavior. If you want to read more, put a book on your pillow each night. If you want to write, keep your journal open on your desk. If you want to meditate, prepare the space in advance. These simple cues tell your brain, this is who I am now. This is what I do. Over time, your identity shifts to match your behavior. That's the real goal, not just to act disciplined, but to become someone who values discipline at their core. Remember this truth: discipline is not punishment. It's a gift. It's the highest form of self-respect. When you follow through on the hard choices, you're telling yourself you are worthy of growth, capable of consistency, and committed to something bigger than comfort. You're choosing purpose over impulse, and that choice changes everything. You must also learn to delay gratification. Every time you resist a cheap dopamine hit, you build internal power. When you skip a distraction to stay on task, you're proving to yourself that you are in control, not your cravings, not your mood, not your surroundings. This sense of control is what builds confidence. It doesn't come from results. It comes from knowing that you can trust yourself to act with integrity. Discipline is built in the tension between what you want now and what you want most. Every time you choose the long term over the short term, you make that tension work for you, and eventually it becomes natural. You stop craving the quick reward. You begin to find satisfaction in progress. The kind of satisfaction that doesn't fade when the screen turns off. The kind that lingers, that sustains, that feeds your soul, not just your senses. You must also protect your mornings with everything you've got. The first hour of your day is sacred. It sets the tone for how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. If you start the day reacting, you'll stay reactive. But if you start with intention, with stillness, movement, or planning, you'll take the wheel instead of being dragged through the day. Make it a habit to own your mornings. Even 5 minutes of presence can redirect your entire mindset. In a world built on speed and noise, the most rebellious act is to slow down and choose deliberately. That's what building strong habits is really about, making decisions with clarity instead of being pulled by impulse. Most people wait until they feel inspired to act. That's why most people stay stuck. You must act even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it's uncomfortable. That's what separates discipline from motivation. You don't need more inspiration. You need more systems. Systems that make it easier to succeed than to slip. Don't try to break a bad habit by resisting it endlessly. Replace it with a better one. If you scroll mindlessly at night, replace it with journaling or reading something that nourishes you. If you binge on content when stressed, go for a walk instead. Redirect the energy. Give your brain a better outlet. Track your habits. Write them down, not to obsess over perfection, but to stay honest with yourself. What gets measured gets managed. When you see your progress, even in small wins, your mind starts to believe that change is possible. That belief is fuel. It drives consistency. It keeps you grounded when the process feels slow. Surround yourself with people who value discipline. Your environment isn't just physical, it's social. If you're constantly surrounded by those who indulge distraction, you'll unconsciously lower your standards. But if you keep company with those who are focused, intentional, and growth-minded, their habits will rub off on you. You don't rise alone. You rise with others who push you to be better. Never forget that discipline is forged in discomfort. When you feel resistance, don't run from it. Lean into it. It means you're growing. It means you're on the edge of transformation. That edge is where the old version of you dies and the new one is born. Every habit you build is a brick in that foundation. Stack them daily, even when they seem small. Over time, they form a fortress of focus, strength, and resilience. Be patient with yourself, but don't be soft. There will be days when you fall off. That's not failure. That's data. Learn from it. Get back up faster. The goal is not perfection, it's progress. The habits you build today may not show results tomorrow, but they will compound. They will shape your behavior, your attitude, your identity, and eventually, your outcomes. Ask yourself each night, did I act from discipline or distraction today? Not to shame yourself, but to stay aware. Awareness is the first step to change. Most people never ask that question. They drift. They let the day control them. But you're not most people. You're building something different, something stronger. You have to want it badly enough. Not just talk about it, not just read about it, but live it. Habits don't stick by accident. They stick through repetition, reinforcement, and reflection. And the more you practice, the more automatic they become. What once took effort becomes your new baseline. That's when the discipline pays off. The strongest version of you is buried under layers of distraction. To uncover it, you must chip away daily. Not with grand gestures, but with consistent action. Make your habits your foundation. Let them carry you through the hard days. Let them remind you of your purpose when motivation fades. This is the path of growth, of real change, of inner strength. It's not flashy, it's not instant, but it's unshakable. When you build your life on discipline instead of dopamine, you build something that lasts, something that can't be taken from you. Because it's not based on outside rewards, it's based on who you've become, and who you become will always matter more than what you achieve. Because if your habits are strong, your results will follow. If your habits are weak, your life will fall apart, no matter how talented you are. Discipline is the ultimate advantage. It separates those who wish from those who win, those who dream from those who build. So build the habits that match your highest vision. Start small. Stay consistent. Trust the process. It will be hard. It will be slow. But it will be worth it. And when the world around you continues to chase distractions, you'll know you've chosen something far more powerful: mastery. Chapter 4. Create a work routine that drives deep focus daily. If you want to win, you need to stop treating your work like a casual event and start treating it like war, because the real battle is between your focus and everything trying to steal it. The reason most people fail to get meaningful work done isn't because they aren't talented or intelligent. It's because they've never taken the time to build a work routine that supports deep focus. They live in reaction mode. They allow every notification, every distraction, every small interruption to fracture their attention into 1,000 broken pieces. And then they wonder why they feel scattered, drained, and unproductive. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can take back control. You can create a daily rhythm that protects your energy, sharpens your mind, and fuels your progress. The key is not to work harder, but to work smarter. Not to cram more into your day, but to build structure around what matters. Focus isn't something you hope for, it's something you train. And the best way to train it is through a disciplined, repeatable, and distraction-free work routine. Start with this simple truth: your brain cannot do its best work in chaos. You can't concentrate deeply when your phone is buzzing, your email is open, and your environment is cluttered. So the first step is elimination. Cut the noise, silence the interruptions, remove the temptations. Don't rely on willpower. Design your workspace to serve your focus. That means no social media tabs open, no text message alerts, and no open doors that invite distractions. You need a clear boundary between work and everything else. Set a time to begin and a time to stop. Create a ritual to signal to your brain that it's time to enter a different state. Whether it's making coffee, opening a journal, or putting on noise-canceling headphones, anchor your work in a consistent pattern. That pattern tells your mind, now we go deep. Work in sprints, not marathons. Your brain wasn't built to focus for 8 hours straight. Instead, break your work into chunks of focused time, 90 minutes, 60 minutes, even 45 if you're just starting. During that time, remove every possible distraction and go all in. Shut the door. Turn off your phone. Don't even allow yourself to think about anything else. This isn't about doing more. It's about doing one thing with full intensity. After each sprint, step away, breathe, move, reset your attention. The recovery is just as important as the push. Without breaks, your mind becomes dull. With them, it stays sharp. Deep focus isn't just about intensity, it's about sustainability. You can't grind your way to greatness. You need clarity, rhythm, and intention. The time of day matters too. Most people have windows where they're naturally more alert and creative. For some, it's early morning. For others, it's late at night. Pay attention to your energy patterns and schedule your most important work during your peak hours. Don't waste your sharpest focus on emails or meetings. Save it for deep, high-impact tasks that move your life forward. Don't try to do everything in one sitting. Pick one core task each day and give it your full attention. When you prioritize depth over breadth, you produce real progress, not just motion, but movement. Real work isn't about checking boxes. It's about creating results that matter. And that only happens when your attention is undivided. Train your mind to return to the task every time it drifts. It will wander. That's natural. But when it does, don't criticize yourself. Just bring it back. Again and again. That's the practice. That's how focus is strengthened, through repetition, not through perfection. You're not trying to eliminate distraction forever. You're trying to master the art of returning your attention over and over until it becomes your default. Don't underestimate the power of your environment. Your surroundings are shaping your mental state more than you realize. If your desk is cluttered, your mind will be too. If you work in the same space you relax in, your brain gets confused about what mode it should be in. Create separation. Even if it's just a corner of a room, make it sacred. Make it intentional. Make it yours. Your work routine should also include time for review. At the end of each day, pause and ask yourself, what did I accomplish? What worked well? What pulled me off track? These questions keep you aligned. They sharpen your awareness. And awareness is the foundation of improvement. You can't change what you don't track. You can't improve what you ignore. A focused routine isn't just about execution, it's about reflection. Sleep is part of your routine too. If you're not getting enough rest, you're sabotaging your focus before the day even begins. No routine can save you if your brain is exhausted. Prioritize sleep like your life depends on it, because your clarity, memory, and discipline do. Don't glamorize burnout. Optimize recovery. Fuel your body with the right inputs. What you eat impacts how you think. Heavy processed foods slow you down. Clean, whole foods energize you. Hydrate. Move your body. These aren't side notes, they're core parts of a high-performance work routine. You can't produce elite results if you treat your body like an afterthought. Avoid context switching. Every time you bounce from one task to another, you lose momentum. Your brain has to recalibrate, and it costs you time and energy. So batch similar tasks. Group all communication into one window. Save creative work for another. When you switch less, you produce more. Your routine should also include space to disconnect completely. Focus isn't just about what you do when you're working. It's about how you recover when you're not. Make time for stillness, for silence, for hobbies. Let your mind wander on purpose. That space isn't wasted. It's necessary. It allows ideas to incubate. It restores your mental bandwidth. Don't forget the purpose behind your work. Focus is easier when you care deeply about what you're doing. Reconnect with your why. What are you building? Who are you becoming? Why does it matter? The stronger your purpose, the less you'll be pulled by distractions. Purpose fuels discipline. It gives your routine meaning. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a repeatable process. One that keeps you grounded when motivation fades. One that works even on bad days. Discipline isn't about extremes. It's about showing up consistently. That's what a good work routine gives you. A foundation. A system that doesn't rely on feelings, but on commitment. There will be days when you fall off. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. The question is, do you start again? Do you adjust? Do you recommit? The answer to those questions will determine your trajectory. A great routine isn't rigid. It's adaptive. It evolves with you. It supports your growth. Focus is a habit, and like all habits, it must be trained. The more you practice working deeply, the easier it becomes. The more you protect your time, the more you value it. The more you resist distractions, the more you take control of your mind. This is how you become a force. Not through chaos, but through clarity. If you want to do work that matters, work that leaves an impact, work that fulfills you, then you must be ruthless about protecting your time. You must build a routine that demands your best. One that makes it easier to succeed than to drift. One that you can rely on day in and day out, no matter how you feel. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. The greatest work is never done in one moment of inspiration. It's done through hours, days, and weeks of focused, deliberate effort. That's the secret. Not talent, not luck, but repetition, discipline, process. And the beautiful thing is, anyone can build this. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need to decide from this moment forward. I protect my focus. I honor my work. I give my full self to what matters. Not once, not sometimes, but every single day. That's how you win. That's how you separate yourself. That's how you build a life of meaning. Not noise. One focused hour is worth more than 10 distracted ones. One powerful routine is worth more than 1,000 motivational quotes. Your focus is your weapon. Your routine is your armor. Build both and become unstoppable. Chapter 5. Strengthen your willpower by practicing mental resistance daily. If you want to be mentally unbreakable, you must train your mind like a soldier trains for war every single day, without excuses, without compromise, and without needing someone to push you. The reason people fall into weakness is because they let their minds get too comfortable. They avoid pressure, they give in to temptation, and they let emotions control their decisions. But the truth is this: every time you avoid resistance, you weaken your will. Every time you take the easy way out, your discipline erodes. If you want to be strong, you need to do what's hard. Not once, not twice, but over and over, until strength becomes your new default. Mental resistance is a daily fight, not a one-time achievement. You build it by saying no to the shortcuts. You build it by delaying gratification. You build it by choosing what's right over what's easy. Every time you want to quit, and you don't, you grow. Every time you feel like giving up, and you stay in the fight, you evolve. Willpower isn't something you're born with. It's a muscle, and it only grows under pressure. If you never push yourself, you'll never discover how powerful you can really be. Start small. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Begin with the first urge to quit, the first craving to give in, the first excuse that pops into your head. That's the moment of choice. That's the test. If you say yes to weakness, you lose ground. If you say no and hold your ground, you get stronger. It's that simple. The mind will try to convince you to stay safe. It will whisper that you've done enough. It will urge you to rest before you've earned it. But your job is to push back, to resist, to remind yourself why you started. You must challenge yourself deliberately. Wake up earlier than you want to. Say no to distractions that bring you comfort, but steal your time. Sit in silence when the world wants noise. Stick to your plan when your feelings beg you to break it. This is how you build willpower, not by avoiding discomfort, but by choosing it on purpose. You must learn to enjoy doing what most people avoid. That's what separates the average from the unstoppable. Not talent, not background, but the decision to face resistance rather than run from it. When you practice mental resistance daily, you stop being controlled by your impulses. You stop being a slave to your cravings. You begin to act with intention. You begin to live with strength. And that's when everything changes. Because now you can keep promises to yourself. Now you can push past your limits. Now you can finish what you start, no matter how hard it gets. There is no growth without resistance. If you avoid the strain, you stay the same. But if you seek it, you evolve. You don't need to conquer the whole mountain in one day. Just win the next moment. When you feel the urge to scroll, don't. When you want to hit snooze, get up instead. When your mind screams for comfort, deny it. You are not here to live soft. You are here to live strong. You don't train willpower by talking about discipline. You train it by doing what you said you would do, even when every part of you wants out. Discipline comes from repetition. You won't become mentally tough after one day of effort. You become unshakable by showing up again and again. especially when it's hard. Every time you train when you don't feel like it. Every time you finish what you started, even though it's uncomfortable. Every time you walk past a temptation without looking twice. That's a rep for your mind. That's another layer of strength added to your identity. Most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they surrender to weakness. They justify it with excuses. They tell themselves it's okay just this once. But one excuse leads to another. One compromise becomes a habit. And before they know it, they've trained themselves to give in instead of rise up. You must decide that your willpower is non-negotiable. That your standards aren't based on how you feel, but on who you've committed to becoming. You don't need motivation, you need commitment. Motivation fades. It's based on moods. But commitment is stronger. Commitment says, I do this whether I feel like it or not. I resist even when I'm tired. I follow through, even when it's boring. The more you practice mental resistance, the more your default becomes discipline. And when that becomes your new normal, you are unstoppable. Don't wait until you feel confident. Strength comes from doing the hard thing while scared, while uncertain, while uncomfortable. You'll never feel 100% ready to face pressure, but if you keep waiting for perfect conditions, you'll stay stuck. You grow by stepping into difficulty before you feel ready and proving to yourself that you can handle it. Train yourself to sit in discomfort. When your thoughts are racing, sit still. When your body wants to quit, take one more step. When your habits want to break, reinforce them with action. The more time you spend in discomfort, the more comfortable you become in challenge. That's how you develop an edge. That's how you rise while others retreat. It's easy to talk about mental strength. It's easy to share quotes and read books, but none of that builds your willpower unless you act on it. You must do the work. You must feel the burn. You must resist the cravings. Every time you say no to the shortcut, you are building the discipline that will carry you through every obstacle ahead. You must protect your willpower like it's gold. Don't waste it on nonsense. Don't let small distractions chip away at it all day long. Set boundaries with your time. Prioritize tasks that matter. Remove the triggers that lead to weakness. Create an environment that supports your strength. Because the more energy you spend on the unimportant, the less you'll have left when it counts. Willpower is finite in the short term, but limitless when trained over time. Just like physical strength, it grows the more you use it. But if you don't use it, it fades. So each day, find one thing that challenges you and conquer it. That's how you stretch your capacity. That's how you go from fragile to focused, from reactive to relentless. The best version of you is on the other side of resistance. You won't reach it through comfort. You won't unlock it by playing it safe. You have to go through the fire. You have to earn it through daily effort. Every time you choose effort over ease, you prove that you are not ruled by your urges. You are ruled by your mission. Stop looking for the easier path. Start looking for the growth. Every challenge is a chance to build willpower. Every difficulty is an opportunity to sharpen your edge. Your job is not to avoid struggle, but to rise through it, to become stronger because of it. That's how resilience is born, not by avoiding the pressure, but by walking straight into it. You must practice saying no. No to the sugar, no to the gossip, no to the distraction, no to anything that weakens your grip on your vision. Your strength is defined by how well you resist what does not serve you. If you want to achieve something rare, you must live in a way most people won't. That means embracing mental resistance as part of your daily life. Make your word law. When you say you'll do something, do it. Not because it's fun, not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. That's where power lives, in the alignment between your intention and your action. Every time you follow through, you build trust with yourself. And that trust becomes the foundation for unshakable will. Your mind will scream for comfort. It will beg for shortcuts. But every time you choose resistance over relief, you reclaim your power. You prove that you're stronger than your feelings, that you're driven by purpose, not by pleasure, that you've trained your will, not surrendered to your weakness. This is how champions are made. Not in the spotlight, but in the silent moments when no one is watching. When the decision to push or quit is yours alone. When the only voice telling you to keep going is the one in your own head. And you choose strength anyway. You choose to rise anyway. That's what it means to practice mental resistance daily. It means choosing the hard path, because it makes you better. It means embracing discomfort, because that's where growth lives. It means doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. Because in the end, it's not about what you want in the moment. It's about what you want for your life. And if you truly want to rise, to lead, to win, to dominate, then you must train your will until nothing can break it. Until your resistance is automatic. Until your discipline is unquestionable. Until your strength is undeniable. Do the hard things. Face the discomfort. Build the resistance. And become the person who never backs down. Chapter 6. Track your attention to reclaim full control of it. If you don't track where your attention goes, you'll never control your life, because your attention is your life. It's the currency you spend every second of the day, and once it's gone, you don't get it back. People lose years without realizing it, not because they didn't have dreams, but because they didn't protect their attention. It slipped away slowly, pulled in 100 directions by noise, distractions, and unconscious habits. If you want to take full control of your future, the first thing you must do is reclaim your attention by tracking exactly where it goes. This isn't about blaming yourself, it's about waking up. You must begin to observe your behavior with brutal honesty. Every time you reach for your phone, every time you get lost in scrolling, every time you bounce from one task to another without finishing anything, you are training your mind to be scattered. And a scattered mind cannot create anything powerful. A distracted person cannot build anything meaningful. You don't need more time, you need more clarity about how you're using the time you already have. Start by watching yourself like a scientist. No judgment, just awareness. Where does your attention go the moment you wake up? What thoughts dominate your mind during the quiet parts of the day? What apps do you open without even thinking? What conversations drain your focus? What environments make you lose track of time for the wrong reasons? This kind of honest reflection is uncomfortable, but it's the beginning of power. You can't change what you don't measure. You can't fix what you don't face. People think focus is a matter of willpower, but it's really a matter of design. If you don't design your days, the world will design them for you, and the world is designed to steal your attention. That's not a theory, it's a business model. Your clicks are monetized, your time is being sold. So if you want to be free, you must protect your focus like a fortress. You must be relentless about tracking what captures your mind, and then consciously remove what doesn't serve your mission. You can't afford to live on autopilot. Every moment you're not directing your attention intentionally, it's being hijacked. If you want to reclaim your power, you must treat your attention like it's sacred, because it is. It determines your emotions, it shapes your thoughts, It builds your habits. It creates your future. What you focus on consistently becomes your reality. And if your attention is fragmented, your results will be too. There is a powerful transformation that happens when you start tracking your focus daily. You begin to notice patterns. You realize how much energy is wasted on tasks that don't matter. You become aware of triggers that pull you off course. And most importantly, you begin to build a deeper relationship with your mind. You no longer let it wander aimlessly. You begin to command it with precision. This is where real control begins, not through force, but through awareness and intention. Get a notebook or an app. Track your attention in real time. Set a timer and check in every hour. Ask yourself, what am I focusing on right now? Is this aligned with what I want to achieve? Is this helping me grow, or just keeping me busy? These micro-reflections train your brain to pay attention to attention itself. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes to notice when you're drifting and bring yourself back. You don't need to control every minute, but you must own your hours. Start protecting your mornings. They set the tone for your entire day. Don't let your phone be the first thing that owns your focus. Begin with stillness, clarity, and direction. Ask yourself what truly matters today, and direct your attention there first. You are not a robot. You are a human being with limited energy. Don't waste it on low-value inputs. Reclaiming your attention doesn't require more tools, it requires discipline. It's not about downloading more productivity apps. It's about removing what weakens your clarity. You must declutter your digital life. Turn off notifications that don't serve you. Create time blocks where you disconnect from noise. Give yourself permission to focus on one thing without guilt. That kind of deep work is rare in today's world, but it's exactly what leads to real results. If you keep switching tasks every few minutes, you're not working, you're reacting. And that reaction mode is the enemy of excellence. When you track your attention, you start to realize how often you abandon important work for meaningless stimulation. You start to see that many of your urgent tasks are just disguised distractions. And once you see it clearly, you can cut it off. You can choose differently. You can say no to what drains your power. There's a kind of inner strength that comes from mastering your attention. You walk through the world with more presence. You stop being tossed around by notifications, urges, and impulses. You no longer give your energy to every headline, message, or meaningless opinion. You become calm in chaos. Focused in a noisy world, that level of control is rare, but it's available to anyone willing to track where their energy goes. Your ability to focus is your most valuable asset in a distracted world. You can't build anything lasting if you're constantly pulled in every direction. Attention is what separates the amateur from the master. It's what takes ideas from your head into results you can touch. But it doesn't just happen. You must train it, sharpen it, guard it. And that training begins with daily awareness. Ask yourself every day, what am I giving my attention to, and is it worth it? Not everything deserves your time. Not every thought deserves your energy. Not every problem is yours to solve, and not every voice deserves to be heard by you. You must filter relentlessly, because your attention, once spent, cannot be refunded. Be ruthless with what you allow into your mental space. This isn't about being cold, it's about being intentional. When you track your attention long enough, you begin to reclaim your time. You begin to reshape your habits. You stop drifting into distractions and start directing your energy toward what matters. That is how you build momentum. That is how you begin to feel in control, not just of your tasks, but of your entire life. You move with clarity. You act with intention. You stop feeling behind because you've stopped wasting what matters most, your focus. Attention is like sunlight. Scattered, it warms. Focused, it burns through steel. If you want to accomplish anything extraordinary, you must channel your attention like a laser. That means no more multitasking. No more bouncing between tasks. No more surrendering your focus to every buzz or beep. Choose your focus, lock it in, and stay with it longer than your comfort wants you to. The more you do this, the easier it gets. You begin to feel the difference between shallow work and deep focus. You stop chasing stimulation and start craving clarity. You realize how much faster you can execute when your mind is all in. And you begin to separate yourself from the masses, not by talent, but by attention. Because most people never pay attention to their attention, and that's why they stay stuck. You are not here to live distracted. You are here to do something meaningful with your time. But meaning requires effort. It requires focus. It requires sacrifice. If you want clarity, you must give up chaos. If you want momentum, you must stop scattering your energy. If you want to move forward, you must cut off everything that pulls you backward. Track it all. Watch your patterns. Study your own behavior like a discipline. You'll see where the leaks are. You'll see what needs to go. You'll see the habits that serve you and the ones that don't. And from that awareness, you gain power. You no longer move through life reacting. You begin to respond with purpose, with precision, with strength. You don't get your life together by accident. You get it together by tracking what you allow to enter your mind, where you place your energy, and how you invest your time. Attention is not just mental, it's spiritual. What you focus on, you feed. What you starve, dies. The more you train your focus, the stronger you get. The stronger you get, the more you can create. And the more you create, the more you realize how important this one discipline is: mastering your attention. So start today. Track every hour. Reflect every evening. Redirect every moment that slips. This isn't obsession, it's freedom. When you own your focus, you own your path. And that is the ultimate power. Living fully, without noise owning your mind. You are meant to be focused. You are meant to be sharp. You are meant to be in control. Start tracking, start reclaiming, and never let your attention be stolen again. Chapter 7. Master boredom by training your mind to stay still. If you can sit still and do nothing, you are stronger than most people alive today. In a world that constantly screams for your attention, where every spare second is filled with entertainment, stimulation and distraction, the rarest and most powerful skill you can develop is the ability to be still, not just physically, but mentally. To be calm in a world that's addicted to speed. To sit in silence and not reach for your phone. To face your thoughts without running from them. That is where real strength lives. Not in doing more, but in mastering the space between. Boredom is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's the space where your mind reveals its conditioning. When you strip away the noise, you start to see what's actually inside you. Most people don't like what they find in silence. That's why they run from it. But if you want to master yourself, you have to stop running. You have to stop escaping. You have to sit still and let boredom wash over you without trying to escape it. Because beyond that discomfort is clarity, discipline, peace. When you force yourself to be constantly entertained, you train your mind to expect stimulation. And a mind that constantly seeks stimulation cannot focus, cannot think deeply, and cannot create anything meaningful. That's why most people struggle to stay with one task. That's why they start something and never finish. Their mind is wired to flee boredom, and in doing so, they sabotage their own potential. You don't build greatness through excitement. You build it through consistency, through doing the work even when it's dull. Your brain has been conditioned to expect dopamine every few seconds. Likes, notifications, quick answers, instant pleasure. And as long as that loop continues, you will never access the power of deep work. You will never be able to concentrate for long periods. You'll never develop patience. But if you can sit quietly, even for 10 minutes, and just observe your thoughts without acting on them, you begin to change that pattern. You start training your mind to stop reacting and start observing. You take your power back. Stillness is not laziness, it's discipline. It's learning to control your reactions, your thoughts, and your urges. When you train your mind to stay still, you begin to slow down your internal chaos. You stop chasing the next thing. You begin to see that peace is not something you find, it's something you train. And boredom becomes a tool for growth. It reveals your triggers. It exposes your impulses. It shows you where your mind tries to escape. And once you see that, you can change it. Every time you reach for your phone during a quiet moment, you're teaching your brain that boredom must be avoided. But what if you resisted that urge? What if you just let that uncomfortable silence sit there without trying to fill it? That's mental resistance. That's training. That's rewiring. And if you do that every day, even for short moments, you become mentally stronger. You stop being a slave to your cravings. Stillness is where real creativity lives. It's where your best ideas are born. But you'll never reach that depth if you're always running from silence. You have to be willing to sit through the discomfort, to be bored without distraction, to let your mind wander and return. That's how focus is forged, not in noise but in discipline. If you can learn to enjoy doing nothing, even just for a little while, you unlock a level of strength most people never touch. Modern life conditions you to be reactive. Everything is fast, urgent, and designed to hook your attention. But you don't have to live that way. You can build a different kind of mind. A still mind, a focused mind, a powerful mind. And it begins with sitting still. Just you and your thoughts. No screen, no music, no scrolling. Just stillness. Just boredom. Just quiet. That is the foundation of mastery. You don't need to escape your mind. You need to understand it. And that understanding only comes in silence. You have to stop filling the gaps. Stop masking the discomfort. Stop avoiding the void. Because the void is where transformation happens. It's in that space where your old habits get exposed, where your ego quiets down, where your truth rises. And most people never experience it because they run every time boredom shows up. There's a reason the greatest thinkers, writers, and leaders all valued solitude. It's not because they were antisocial. It's because they understood that stillness sharpens the mind. It reveals the unnecessary. It cuts through the noise, and it allows them to operate from clarity instead of chaos. You can have that too, but only if you stop running from boredom and start using it. Set time every day to do nothing. Just sit. Watch your thoughts. Breathe. Don't judge. Don't label. Just observe. In the beginning, it will feel unbearable. Your mind will scream for stimulation. You'll want to quit. You'll want to reach for your phone, check a message, do anything but sit. But that discomfort is the training. That tension is the process. If you stay with it, you get stronger. This isn't about meditation. It's about mastery. You are teaching your mind to listen, to obey, to follow your command, not its own impulses. And once you can sit still in the storm, you can move powerfully through the world. You become harder to distract, harder to shake, harder to manipulate. Because your mind belongs to you now, not to everything that tries to steal it. When you train your mind to stay still, you start to see your real priorities more clearly. You become less reactive. You stop chasing temporary highs. You build patience, which most people lack. You begin to value long-term gain over short-term comfort. You stop living at the mercy of your environment and start directing your own experience. Silence becomes your strength. Stillness becomes your weapon. You are no longer afraid of your thoughts. You are no longer addicted to motion. You stop needing noise to feel okay. You stop needing attention to feel worthy. You become grounded, calm, clear, and that clarity becomes the force that drives your actions. Not pressure, not chaos, not panic, just clear, calm intention. Your environment won't teach you this. Society won't reward you for sitting still, but you must do it anyway. Because everything you truly want, peace, focus, confidence, inner strength, begins with your ability to be still in a world that never stops moving. If you can master boredom, you can master anything, because boredom is just your mind begging for distraction. And if you can deny it that, you've already won. Don't train your brain to crave entertainment. Train it to thrive in calm. Train it to operate in silence. Train it to find purpose even in the mundane. You'll start enjoying the slow parts of life. You'll stop needing constant novelty. You'll gain the ability to sit with discomfort without reacting. And that's the definition of mental power. Most people look for excitement when they feel restless. You must look inward. Instead of running, you must sit. Instead of escaping, you must confront. Instead of numbing, you must feel. That's how you build grit. That's how you develop patience. That's how you forge the kind of discipline that creates long-term success. Stop seeing boredom as the enemy. Start seeing it as the doorway. Every time you resist the urge to escape it, you gain strength. You become more centered, more grounded, more in control. You start to realize you don't need more things. You need more awareness. And that awareness only comes when you stop, sit and listen. Let yourself feel the itch. Let your thoughts race. Let your mind complain. But don't move. Don't reach for distraction. Just stay still. You are training now. Every second you sit in silence is another step toward clarity, toward peace, toward mastery. And eventually, that stillness will become your default, not just in quiet moments, but in the chaos of life. You'll begin to respond instead of react. You'll act with purpose instead of impulse. You'll build habits that are anchored, not scattered. And that anchored presence will influence every area of your life, your work, your relationships, your discipline, your growth. All of it starts with training your mind to stop running and simply be. If you can do that, if you can sit with your own mind without trying to escape it, there is nothing in this world you cannot face. Because the hardest battle is always the one inside. And once you win that, everything else becomes manageable. Everything else becomes secondary. The chaos out there cannot touch the stillness in here. So begin, today, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. No phone, no screen, no noise. Just you, just your breath, just your mind. Let it all rise, let it all pass. You don't have to control it. You just have to sit through it. And in that sitting, you will find strength. You will find clarity. You will find freedom. Train your mind to be still. Master boredom. Own your attention. and you will become unshakable. Chapter 8. Replace quick dopamine hits with meaningful progress daily. Instant gratification is the enemy of real achievement. Every time you chase a quick dopamine hit, a like, a scroll, a small pleasure, you trade away the chance to build something lasting and meaningful. If you want to win in life, you have to break free from this trap and start replacing fleeting rewards with steady progress. Because true satisfaction doesn't come from momentary thrills, it comes from daily intentional growth that compounds into unstoppable momentum. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. That's natural. But in today's world, the way pleasure is delivered is designed to be fast, easy, and addictive. Notifications ping constantly, videos autoplay, endless options exist for distraction, all giving you tiny bursts of dopamine to keep you hooked. The problem is that these quick hits train your mind to expect immediate reward. They rewire your motivation to crave speed over substance. And when you live like this, the real work, the long, slow, sometimes boring work, gets ignored. Meaningful progress isn't flashy. It doesn't show up as a quick win or instant praise. It's invisible in the moment, growing quietly under the surface. It's the small decision to focus on your task even when you don't feel like it. It's the daily step forward toward a goal that may seem far away. It's the discipline to choose long-term benefit over short-term pleasure again and again, even when your brain screams for the opposite. This kind of progress is the foundation of success, but it requires a different kind of motivation, one that isn't fueled by immediate reward. You have to become aware of how often you reach for the easy dopamine hit. How many times a day do you pause just to check your phone, to refresh a social feed, to indulge in mindless scrolling? Each of these moments trains your brain to expect instant gratification, reinforcing a habit of distraction and impatience. The more you give in, the weaker your ability to focus becomes. The more your attention fragments, the further you drift from meaningful accomplishment. But what if you made a conscious choice instead? What if you turned away from the pull of quick pleasure and directed that energy toward a goal that matters? Instead of grabbing your phone, you open a book. Instead of watching a short clip, you write a paragraph or solve a problem. Instead of chasing a hit of excitement, you slow down and commit to a task that pushes you closer to your vision. This shift is subtle but powerful. It rewires your brain to seek fulfillment in growth rather than in distraction. The brain thrives on progress. When you see evidence that you are moving forward, even in small ways, your motivation builds naturally. That feeling of accomplishment releases dopamine too, but it's different from the artificial bursts triggered by apps or entertainment. It's dopamine earned through effort and achievement, which lasts longer and supports sustained focus. The key is to structure your day so that these moments of meaningful progress happen regularly. You create an environment that supports growth instead of distraction. To replace quick dopamine hits with meaningful progress, you need to start by tracking how you spend your attention. Awareness is the first step to change. Write down when and why you reach for distractions. Identify the triggers. Is it boredom? Anxiety? Fatigue? Once you understand your patterns, you can plan to interrupt them. Replace those moments with a simple action related to your goals. Even a small step counts: writing one sentence, doing 5 push-ups, reviewing a plan. This tiny pivot trains your brain to seek progress instead of pleasure. Next, build rituals around your work that encourage deep focus and satisfaction. Create clear boundaries for when and where you work, minimizing interruptions. Use tools like timers or task lists to create measurable goals for each session. Celebrate small wins immediately to reinforce positive behavior. When you finish a task, no matter how small, acknowledge it. That recognition releases dopamine naturally and motivates you to keep going. Over time, these positive feedback loops build momentum and change your brain's reward system. Another powerful strategy is to practice delayed gratification deliberately. Train yourself to resist the urge for quick pleasure by setting small challenges. For example, commit to not checking social media until you complete a certain task, or decide to focus on work for 25 minutes before allowing yourself a 5-minute break. These small acts of resistance build willpower and strengthen your ability to prioritize long-term gains. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to delay pleasure and stay on course. It's important to understand that meaningful progress often requires patience. Growth doesn't happen overnight. The most significant achievements come from consistent effort, sustained over time. This can be frustrating in a culture obsessed with instant results, but the truth remains, lasting success rewards persistence, not speed. When you accept this reality, you free yourself from the trap of chasing immediate gratification and open the door to steady, lasting improvement. Your environment plays a huge role in this process. Surround yourself with cues and influences that support focus and progress. Remove distractions as much as possible. Design your workspace to minimize temptation. Set clear intentions for your day and revisit them frequently. When you're intentional about what you allow into your mental space, you protect your attention and create room for meaningful work. Every choice you make about your environment shapes how easily you can resist quick dopamine and embrace progress. It also helps to redefine what success means to you. Instead of measuring success by external validation, likes, shares, applause, focus on internal markers, effort, growth, discipline. When you value these, the temptation of quick hits fades because you're motivated by deeper reasons. You're building a character, not chasing a feeling. This shift in perspective changes how you approach your day and how you respond to impulses. Meaningful progress becomes its own reward, independent of external approval. You will face setbacks. The pull of instant gratification is strong because it taps into deep biological urges. There will be moments when you slip, when distractions win. That's normal. What matters is how you respond. Don't let one lapse spiral into giving up. Instead, see each moment as a chance to practice choosing progress again. Every time you choose the long path over the easy one, you strengthen your habits and deepen your resilience. Progress is not always linear. Sometimes you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. That's part of the process. Stay committed to your vision and remember why you started. Focus on building routines and habits that make progress automatic. Over time, these habits become second nature, and your mind rewires to crave growth instead of quick pleasure. This transformation takes time, but the results are profound: increased focus, greater satisfaction, and the ability to achieve goals that once seemed impossible. You are in control of where you invest your attention. Each moment is a choice. Chase the fleeting high or build something meaningful. The power lies in your awareness and your willingness to act. It's not about eliminating pleasure, it's about choosing the right kind of pleasure. The kind that comes from mastery, from purpose, from knowing you are moving closer to your best self. That is the dopamine that lasts. That is the fuel for greatness. Begin today by identifying one habit of instant gratification you can replace with a step toward progress. Make that choice consciously and deliberately. Notice how it feels. Notice the difference between a momentary thrill and a deep sense of accomplishment. Repeat this process throughout your day and watch how your motivation shifts. As you build momentum, you'll find yourself craving progress more than distraction. Your life will change because your mind has changed. This journey requires commitment and patience. It demands that you fight against impulses conditioned over years by technology and culture. But it also promises a reward far greater than any quick hit, the power to focus, create, and succeed on your terms. When you replace quick dopamine hits with meaningful progress daily, you step into a new reality, one where your attention is yours, your goals are clear, and your potential is limitless. Chapter 9. Rewire your brain by choosing effort over comfort always. True transformation begins the moment you decide to choose effort over comfort every single time. It's in those moments of struggle, when your body wants to rest and your mind craves ease, that you rewire your brain to become stronger, sharper, and unstoppable. Comfort is a trap disguised as safety, and effort is the pathway to growth, freedom, and true mastery. If you want to live a life of purpose, excellence, and fulfillment, you must make the deliberate choice to seek challenge and discomfort rather than avoid it. Our brains are wired to conserve energy and avoid pain. This instinct has kept humanity alive for millennia, protecting us from dangers. But in today's world, comfort often looks like convenience, endless scrolling, binge-watching, quick fixes, and shortcuts that numb rather than nurture. These comforts condition your brain to expect ease and reward without struggle. The problem is that when you feed your brain this way, it stops craving growth. It gets lazy and complacent. You become stuck in cycles of stagnation disguised as rest. Rewiring your brain requires consistent, conscious effort to override these deep biological impulses. It's about training your mind to see discomfort as a signal for opportunity rather than threat. Every time you choose effort over comfort, you create new neural pathways that strengthen your resolve. This process changes your baseline. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes normal, and what once was easy now feels insufficient. This shift opens doors to higher performance and greater satisfaction in life. Choosing effort means embracing the reality that growth is a process often marked by struggle. There is no shortcut around pain or challenge. Whether it's physical training, mental discipline, or emotional resilience, the path forward is paved with hard work. This effort builds character, sharpens focus, and strengthens willpower. It forces you to adapt, learn, and overcome. Comfort, on the other hand, leads to decay, a slow erosion of your potential and your ability to thrive under pressure. One of the keys to rewiring your brain is to make effort a habit, not an exception. It's easy to push yourself once in a while when motivation is high. But true growth demands consistency. Showing up every day, choosing the hard path when the easy one calls louder, is what separates those who succeed from those who settle. This means setting clear intentions and following through even when you don't feel like it. When you build this kind of discipline, you build a brain wired for effort. It helps to start small and build momentum. Effort doesn't always mean massive struggle. Sometimes it's the little things, getting up early, saying no to distractions, completing a tough task, pushing through fatigue. These small acts compound over time and create a foundation for bigger challenges. Each moment of deliberate effort trains your brain to expect reward from growth instead of comfort. This rewiring makes it easier to sustain effort when things get truly difficult. Another essential practice is to reframe discomfort in your mind. Instead of seeing it as something to avoid, view it as a signal that you are growing. Discomfort means your brain and body are stretching beyond their current limits. This is a sign of progress, not failure. When you shift your perspective this way, effort becomes less intimidating and more motivating. You learn to welcome challenges because you know they are transforming you. You must also cultivate patience and resilience during this process. Rewiring your brain does not happen overnight. It's a gradual journey filled with setbacks and breakthroughs. You will face moments of doubt, frustration, and temptation to revert to comfort. When these moments come, remind yourself why you chose effort in the first place. Focus on the long-term benefits, strength, confidence, mastery, rather than the short-term relief of ease. Your environment can either support or sabotage this transformation. Surround yourself with reminders of your commitment to effort. This could be quotes, accountability partners, or structured routines that encourage pushing through resistance. Remove or limit access to comforts that distract or drain your motivation. When your surroundings align with your goals, it becomes easier to stay the course and strengthen your brain's wiring for effort. It's also vital to monitor your internal dialogue. The stories you tell yourself shape your reality. If you constantly justify comfort or avoidance, your brain will reinforce those patterns. Instead, cultivate a mindset that celebrates challenge and effort. Speak to yourself with encouragement and clarity. Affirm your ability to endure discomfort and grow from it. This internal coaching rewires your neural networks to support your goals instead of sabotaging them. Physical activity is one of the most effective ways to practice choosing effort over comfort. When you push your body beyond its easy limits, your brain adapts to handle stress better. Exercise releases chemicals that improve focus and resilience, strengthening both body and mind. The habit of physical effort spills over into mental and emotional areas, making you more capable of facing challenges in every part of your life. Equally important is the commitment to continuous learning. Growth requires effort, not just in action but in thought. Challenging your beliefs, acquiring new skills, and embracing feedback stretch your mind beyond comfort zones. Intellectual discomfort is often avoided because it feels like failure, but it is essential for lasting change. The brain rewires itself through new experiences and knowledge, becoming more flexible and capable. Effort is not about reckless struggle or burnout. It's about deliberate, sustainable challenge aligned with your values and goals. Knowing when to rest and recover is part of the process. Comfort is necessary in moderation as a tool for restoration, but it must never become the default. The balance between effort and rest is what creates growth without collapse. Choosing effort over comfort also builds confidence. Every time you face difficulty and come through stronger, you prove to yourself that you are capable. This self-trust fuels further effort and resilience. You start to see setbacks not as threats but as opportunities to test and expand your strength. This cycle of challenge and triumph rewires your brain to expect success through effort. The rewards of rewiring your brain for effort extend far beyond achievement. You cultivate mental toughness that carries you through uncertainty and adversity. You gain clarity about what matters most and develop the patience to pursue it deeply. Your sense of self-worth shifts from external validation to internal mastery. Effort becomes a source of joy and identity rather than a burden. At its core, this transformation is a daily commitment to choose what builds you over what comforts you. It is a radical act of self-respect and purpose. Every time you reject the easy path in favor of effort, you claim control over your future. You shape your destiny through intentional struggle and perseverance. This choice is the foundation of a powerful, resilient mind and an extraordinary life. Start now by identifying one area where you habitually choose comfort over effort. Make a plan to act differently in that moment. Prepare yourself mentally and physically for the discomfort ahead. When the temptation to retreat comes, remind yourself that this is exactly where growth lives. Celebrate every effort, no matter how small. With each choice, your brain rewires itself to crave challenge and reject complacency. This journey requires courage because it pushes against your instincts. But it also brings freedom because it frees you from the limitations of comfort. The path of effort is not easy, but it is the only path that leads to greatness. When you commit to this daily practice, you transform your mind, your habits, and your life. You become unstoppable. Chapter 10. Protect your energy by saying no to time wasters. Your energy is your most valuable currency. Once it's spent, you cannot get it back. Protecting it fiercely by saying no to time wasters isn't just a choice. It's a declaration that your life and goals deserve your full presence and power. Every moment spent on distractions steals precious momentum from your progress, drains your enthusiasm, and diminishes your ability to perform at your best. To reclaim control over your time and your life, you must become ruthless in identifying and eliminating the things that drain your energy without giving anything meaningful in return. Time wasters come in many forms. They can be people who constantly demand your attention with little regard for your priorities. They can be activities that pull you into a spiral of procrastination and regret. They can be your own habits of mind, allowing distractions to hijack your focus and scatter your efforts. Recognizing these energy drains is the first step toward protecting your power. Awareness leads to action, and action is the only way to build boundaries strong enough to guard your time. Saying no is often uncomfortable because it challenges social expectations. We are conditioned to please others, to avoid conflict, and to say yes to opportunities even when they don't serve us. But every time you say yes to a time waster, you say no to yourself. You sacrifice the hours you could have invested in your growth, your dreams, or simply your peace of mind. Understanding that your no is a form of self-respect changes the dynamic. It's not rejection, it's preservation. You will find that many time wasters prey on your sense of obligation or guilt. A colleague asking for a favor that doesn't align with your goals, a social invitation that leaves you exhausted, endless notifications from apps designed to keep you hooked. These all tug at your attention with subtle but relentless force. Learning to say no firmly and kindly, without over-explaining or apologizing, is a skill that frees you from these traps. Your time is limited, and protecting it requires clear, consistent boundaries. It is essential to evaluate how you currently spend your time. Tracking your activities honestly reveals where your energy leaks occur. You might be surprised how many hours slip away in low-value tasks disguised as necessary or urgent. These are prime targets for elimination or delegation. When you consciously cut out or reduce these time wasters, you create space for what truly matters. This space fuels productivity, creativity, and fulfillment. Your environment influences your ability to guard your energy. Digital distractions are some of the biggest culprits today. Social media, endless news feeds, and constant alerts fragment your attention and create a false sense of busyness. Limiting your exposure to these stimuli, turning off notifications, scheduling specific times for checking messages, and creating tech-free zones reclaims your focus. You must control your devices, or they will control you. Saying no also means learning to prioritize your commitments fiercely. When you understand what aligns with your values and goals, it becomes easier to dismiss anything that doesn't fit. This clarity turns your no into a powerful tool for momentum. Instead of feeling deprived, you experience freedom, the freedom to dedicate your energy to what truly elevates your life. This shift transforms no from a source of anxiety into a source of strength. You will encounter resistance when you begin protecting your energy. Some people will push back because your no disrupts their expectations. Others might try to guilt you or make you doubt your choices. This is normal and expected. Standing firm requires confidence and repetition. Every no strengthens your resolve and reshapes how others perceive and respect your boundaries. Consistency is key. Your energy is worth every ounce of your effort to protect it. Delegation is another powerful strategy. Not every task requires your personal involvement. By entrusting low-priority activities to others, you free yourself to focus on higher-impact work. This requires trust and clarity in communication, but the payoff is immense. You protect your energy by focusing on the things only you can do, amplifying your influence and effectiveness. Learning to say no also extends to your internal dialogue. Sometimes, the biggest time wasters are your own distractions, negative self-talk, procrastination, or indecision. These internal barriers drain your energy as surely as external distractions. Cultivating awareness of these patterns and interrupting them with focused action strengthens your mental energy. Your mind is the commander of your time. When it wanders, your energy dissipates. Self-care is not indulgence, but a necessity for protecting your energy. When you are physically and emotionally depleted, your resistance to time wasters weakens. Rest, nutrition, exercise, and mindfulness practices build the reservoir of energy you need to say no confidently and consistently. Protecting your energy is not just about cutting out drains, but also about replenishing your strength regularly. Every time you say no to a time waster, you reclaim a piece of your life. This reclaimed time becomes your secret weapon. You can use it to pursue learning, build relationships that matter, or engage deeply with your work. The quality of your energy determines the quality of your results. Protecting it creates a positive feedback loop. More energy leads to better outcomes, which fuels even more energy. In a world designed to fragment your attention and scatter your focus, protecting your energy is an act of rebellion. It says that your goals, your peace, and your happiness are not negotiable. It empowers you to live intentionally rather than reactively. You become the architect of your time, shaping your life by the choices you make every moment. This power transforms your days from chaos to clarity, from overwhelm to control. The process of learning to say no requires patience. You will not master it overnight. At first, you may feel awkward or guilty. You might worry about disappointing others or missing opportunities. But every time you practice, your confidence grows. You discover that those who truly respect you appreciate your boundaries. You also learn that many time wasters lose their grip once you stop feeding them with your attention. A practical way to start is by identifying your biggest time wasters. Reflect honestly on what activities or people pull your energy without giving back. Set specific limits on these, whether it's limiting social media use to certain times, declining unnecessary meetings, or avoiding people who drain your mood. Track your progress and notice how much more focused and energized you feel as you cut these away. Saying no to time wasters is not about rigidity, but about creating space for what energizes you. It's about making deliberate choices that reflect your highest priorities. It's about respect for your time, your energy, and your potential. This respect manifests in action, in every no you say, and every yes you reserve for what truly matters. By protecting your energy, you reclaim your power. You break free from the tyranny of distraction and busyness. You create a life where your time works for you, not against you. You become more present, more effective, and more fulfilled. Saying no to time wasters is the foundation of this transformation. It is the daily practice that builds the fortress around your energy, allowing you to thrive in a world full of demands. Start today by making one commitment. The next time a time waster tries to steal your attention, say no without hesitation. Practice this until it becomes instinctive. Celebrate each victory and watch as your energy grows, your focus sharpens, and your life expands. Protecting your energy is not just a habit, it is the key to unlocking your highest potential.